setting the stage for permanent human presence in space.
Дальность 417.
Так. Есть касание, есть соединение.
Так, открытие крышки ПО-СУ.
Первый раз.
Первый раз.
Новые станции МКС.
Папа!
Окей, здесь.
Они хотели, чтобы мы не открыли.
Не тут-то было. Космосом пахнет, а, ребята? Чувствуешь?
Ага.
Да.
The first expedition on space station requests permission to take the radio call sign Alpha.
Temporarily take it as Alpha. Go ahead. Have a good day.
И выходит практически под нас.
Endeavour arriving.
The lab is really expansive. It's about a little over 30 feet hatch to hatch, and it's full of bays for racks. We have 6 areas here. We're going to put experiment racks in. And forward, you'll see the hatch where the shuttles will be docking in the future when they come to visit Alpha. Here's Jim single-handedly extracting a rack from the MPLM overhead.
I just wanted the folks in New York to know that their city still looks very beautiful from space. I know it's very difficult for everybody in America right now, and I know folks are struggling very hard to deal with this.
And here we get into a couple seeds of Saturday morning science. Here are salt crystals growing, a time-lapse movie, salt crystals growing in a thin film. So these are nearly two-dimensional crystals that have grown within the plane of the film. And here you can see you can harvest these crystals out if you reach in there with some cannula. And this happens to be a big sphere of water. This is about the size of my head. And then you put a puff on it, and it undergoes these oscillations that look a lot like computer models I've seen when a planetary body gets whacked by an asteroid. So we are recreating the whole universe right here in Space Station.
This is a glove box, which we can use to run a whole number of different experiments. Which here's one of them. This insert is kind of what a camera is seeing inside this glove box, and it's an experiment looking at the melting and hardening of substances and how bubbles and pores form in there. Yuri had his share of experiments too. This is kind of a neat one. He was growing peas, and this is important again because if you're going to go out for many months at a time, you're going to have to grow some of your own food. You can't carry it all with you. And so we grew pea pods.
We had video conferences with our family at Christmas.
Daddy?
Yes, Jen?
Did you get my email?
Not in the last 2 days. I'll probably get that.
This is Daddy explaining himself. It's actually playing with his food. And then, of course, New Year came around, and we had not a very big party.
This is typical maintenance work we did on board, removing and replacing things, fixing up little things here and there. And this is removing that electron that I told you about, the big electron oxygen generator. We're pulling it out of its spot, and Sergei's working on a new one, getting it fixed up and getting it ready to put back in place. Typical maintenance work we did on board. And we also did experimental work, more silly hats. This is me putting EEG electrodes in a cap that Sergei is wearing on an experiment called Neurocog, which is designed to measure how the body responds in weightlessness. And here's the famous rendezvous pitch maneuver sped up 5 times. We're taking pictures of this like crazy, as you'll see in the next scene, and you'll hear the Capcom's voice in the next scene as well.
Sergei, that's a firm. They're probably about 10 degrees through the pitch right now.
We are going to go now to the International Space Station. Check it out. Here we go.
There we are.
Well, Bill and Valeri, we have a greeting for you from all the audience here. Check it out. 1, 2, 3.
We also had a pretty neat opportunity to observe a total eclipse of the sun, and again, this was over Turkey.
We spent about 2 days, just like the shuttle does, catching up to the space station, executed an automated rendezvous and approach. The Soyuz rendezvous and approach is a little bit more aggressive and a different profile than the shuttle, as evidenced by all these jet firings here. It's like a machine gun going off when you're inside, as the computer commands braking firings of the thrusters to slow down so we don't go flying by the space station, which obviously we didn't do. Everything went nominal. We actually touched the docking system or conducted docking about 0.15 meters per second, a little bit faster than the shuttle. After the pressure checks, we opened the hatch and greeted the Bill MacArthur and Valery Tokarev, the Expedition 12 crew. They obviously were very happy to see us. They didn't have visitors during their 6 months on board. There you see that big truss element that was added to the port side of the space station. It included another set of solar arrays, adding the ability to produce power to support future assembly, eventually bringing up the international partner laboratory modules and getting to a bigger crew size and getting the space station up to its full potential as a research platform.
This is the Tess, which is where Sunny slept while she was up there, where I slept before she got up there. We have 2 similar sleep stations back aft in the service module. So one of the first things we do every day is check the weather. It was clear 215 days in a row while we were up there. This gives you a nice layout of the laboratory module. Sunny's floating from forward to aft, and you see some of the notable elements there, the robotic workstation, the CRMS.
We'd usually take a stop at the FGB, and that's where we had all of our hygiene stuff. A lot of kids and people ask, how do you brush your teeth in space? How do you wash your hair? How do you wash your face? And so this is really where we would do most of that. We'd usually have a packet of water and take care of all this stuff right here.
Today I feel very optimistic about our program and about the world and everything. It's a great day for me. And I just wanted to share 2 thoughts. One was a few days ago during the EVA, I grabbed the high-def camera and I thought I'd shoot from end to end, and since I had a little bit of a break. So I went up to the flight deck, and there was Dex running the EVA with Rex and Hans outside doing an EVA. I could see him out the window. It was incredibly cool. Came back through the mid-deck. I passed the robotic workstation, and there's Leland and Leo running the arm. And then I passed through the Node 1, and Peggy is working out on the exercise equipment, and I go to the SM, and Yuri's doing a science experiment. So we were doing robotics, EVA, exercise, and science all at the same time. And I was goofing off, taking the movies. But we were doing all of those at the same time in space, which is exactly like those movies they used to show you about 25 years ago about how we're going to live in space. It was almost like a promotional video, and it was phenomenal.
Now, sir, I can die and go to heaven now.
This is what the station looked like when I arrived, a little asymmetrical. We really used the microgravity science glove box a lot between Mike and I, and it's like 3 or 4 different experiments that went through there. Mike is setting up a materials experiment, and after he was finished, I set up a flame experiment, which was kind of fun because we got to burn some things in space carefully and safely. But the neat thing about this experiment was that we were able to talk directly with the investigator, and so it was a really nice way to do science on station where you could give and take with the experimenters and change the matrix as you were going along, and it was a very efficient way to learn and a lot of fun for Mike and I to do that and have that interaction. Of course, one of the major things we did was install the Advanced Resistive Exercise device. It's a wonderful exercise machine, and we got a lot of good workouts on it. We both came back in pretty good shape and do a lot to this machine and how well it works.
Yeah, exercise is extremely important to us, and just to keep us healthy, especially for long duration. And you can see we have many different devices to keep us healthy.
It was a great way to relax, even though it might look a little painful, strapping yourself down and running against the bungees. It was actually a great way to relax, and we got a lot of time on that machine.
This is the cycloergometer with vibration isolation system, and called the Soyuz. And you can see it moves around a lot, but it doesn't move the space station. It keeps our payloads from bumping around.
You're never tired of looking at the Earth. Seeing pictures and talking to people who had been there, nothing can prepare you for how incredibly beautiful the Earth is. This is coming over the Strait of Gibraltar here and the opening to the Mediterranean. And, photography, the best we can do, still doesn't do it justice. To see this, to get an eyeful of how incredible the Earth is. There's pretty much a lightning storm going on somewhere on the planet at any time. But this was particularly amazing. This was coming off the west coast of Italy one night, and I just happened to be dark adapted and have a camera there. I threw my sweater over my head and just saw this incredible show. It was almost continual lightning. By happenstance, we happened to have 3 of us at the windows with cameras ready when we passed over this volcano in the Kuril Islands. I think we were about the first to see it. And that steam plume up there is literally the snow and the water on the top of this thing that blew up with the first ash cloud. And seeing something like that was just magnificent.
Every hour and a half, the International Space Station goes around the world. They're asleep now. Their geosynchronous rhythms would have them asleep, but they left us a message earlier. It's a little short message. So I'm going to try and see if we can get in touch now. Let me see. Here you go. I asked them for a message for Dublin, for Croke Park.
Hello, Croke Park. We hear the boys are back in town.
Hello, Dublin. What's the crack? You all having a good night?
And I asked them also for if they have one special message for us at Croke Park tonight. Future needs a big kiss. Thank you all.
So Mike and I are conducting an experiment using 2 internal satellites called spheres, and some really smart guys in college, guys and gals, developed algorithms so they can fly autonomously together.
We had a number of plant biology experiments on board, Russian, Japanese, and Canadian. It's really interesting to do fundamental science in plant biology, try to better understand why plants grow up or roots grow down, and why they don't do that in space. We also think about plants as being part of a life support system on future Moon or Mars bases as well, being a good way to provide oxygen to the crew and also to treat wastewater as well.
We set up kind of a cool little way to do tours where we could look both forward